What would be the best sword to use with a gun? Let's get two things out of the way. Using a pistol and a blade does have historical precedent. You saw it with Victorian officers, with trench raiders, with jungle rangers, and probably more. Now that did fall out of favor when we transitioned from revolvers to semi-autos, because, you know, being able to reload was seen as more important. But modern guns have a much higher capacity than something like the 1911, so you can go longer without reloading. And the number two thing, shooting a pistol with one hand is firmly established historically. That's what almost everybody did before the 1960s. And even in modern combat, there are plenty of CQB drills that involve doing similar while doing something else with your other hand. So pick whatever pistol you want, but what sword would be the best choice? First off, it would have to be a one-handed sword. This would just be way too unwieldy to use in your offhand, or even in your main hand if you're, deciding to shoot with your offhand, which would be kind of another discussion. Something one-handed, I think, would be much better. Specifically, something on the lighter side. That way it can be nimble, it can be out of the way when you're using your weaker hand. But I think one of the biggest factors would be you still need to reload this, regardless of having a blade. Even though this is relatively high capacity, you want to be able to keep putting bullets into a target. So how can you have a sword not detract from that? Now there are techniques of how to reload a pistol one-handed, and those would be great to learn in this situation, but if you're not able to do that, then having a sword with a significant pommel would be good, so that way, you can hold it and it just drops in, then you've got some fingers at the ready that you can cycle things around with. Or you could also put it in your gun hand, reload like that, grab the blade again. Though having a blade dangling around like that wouldn't really be the safest, so I'd rather have a single-edged blade that I would be able to do that with. Your best bet though, I think, would be something with like a type of D-guard. Saber, cutlass, small sword, plenty of different things. That way you can more easily grab it here, and it's a lot more stable than the other ways that I showed, and you can still reload, boom, 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 easy. Or just hold it in your offhand and still be able to manipulate the firearm and everything. And on the flip side, if the blade's long enough, you can just rest it on the ground and manipulate everything there. But would a sword even be the best offhand weapon when you have a gun? What about an axe? You still have offensive and defensive capabilities, and with an axe you can easily just hold it like that, and you can manipulate things with some of your fingers pretty easily, and a lot safer than a lot of the ways that I showed you with the sword. Even just doing this seems a lot safer, and if the situation dictated, you could even go like that. I mean, even if you had a completely blunt axe, that would still transfer a ridiculous amount of force for a melee weapon. Or you could just use a hammer. Easy, do that, have it on a lanyard, and then you can do it super easily. You could even make a point for nunchucks. Just throw them over your arm, boom, bam. There you go. Are any of those methods better than being able to shoot with better control, or just effortlessly being able to reload faster? Probably not, outside of very specific circumstances. When people like the Victorians used it, they had a gun to offend the targets as they were coming to them, but sometimes those targets got close enough that they needed a way to defend themselves against their melee attacks. The British not infrequently fought people who still used melee more than they did. But again, higher magazine capacity gives more chance to stop people, and you're probably also not going to be in a situation where you can run out of bullets, and there are enough enemies so that way you need to worry about, like, swords don't run out of ammo type of thing. That's probably not going to happen to you. But in a home defense situation where you're quickly grabbing a gun from a secure location, and you only have one magazine anyway, and you're in close quarters, would knowing how to shoot one-handed and grabbing an offhand weapon be the worst idea? Honestly, in that situation, being able to control the weapon the best possible way, because my family's around and my neighbors are around, it would probably be beneficial to use two hands anyway. But I'm putting forth the idea, the concept. You let me know what you think in the comments down here, and like and subscribe the video, and I have other channels and stuff that I've posted about, and I do other things on them. I've been getting real tired of seeing a bunch of AI-generated history or military or sword videos that are just wrong, so I made a channel debunking them called Humansplained. I thought it was funny, my wife thought it was funny.